Hello, I'm Kevin Turner from Real Estate Talk. Welcome once again to this special podcast. Josh and Jenna Densten, or as you might know them, Josh and Jenna from the block, have got a story to tell. Now, it's told so well in the current edition of Australian Property Investor magazine, and they join me right now. Josh and Jenna, hi, how you going?
How you going, Kevin? Thanks for having us.
Oh, mate, it's wonderful to talk to you. I've watched you so much in the block, and it's so. What is life like after Block Mac 2?
Oh, look, it's been pretty busy. Since we finished the block, Jen's finished her interior design course at RMIT here in Melbourne, and
Wow.
we've just been basically working on a lot of properties. So in the last 12 months, we've renovated and sold two of our houses and bought another one and built a townhouse. So it's been very busy all around.
Yeah, well, not only is it busy now, but I mean, you were busy enough when you were on the block, but you were busy before then too. When did your fascination with property really start?
I think we must have been about 19. My whole family have always been into property. So my whole family were always buying and
Wow.
and selling. So it was definitely something that was in the blood. And I think then I passed it over to Josh. But we bought our first house at 19. So it started very young.
I think it
Amazing.
just came down to we were paying a lot of rent at the time,
Yep.
and we thought for a little bit more we can probably afford a mortgage. So we saved some money and we had a crack and bought a little 1970s cream brick house.
Wonderful. Great memories. Have you got a strategy that you stick to?
We've slowly built it up over time. I think every renovation we do or little development, which has only been one, but
Yep.
it's always a big learning curve. And I think now when we're going to sell a place for profit, we try to keep the design very current and timeless. So
Yep.
we use a lot of oak floors and just keeping the areas nice and bright and taking advantage of all that northerly light. I think that's pretty important. But
Hmm.
we're lucky enough that Jenna's done her interior design course. So in regards to all that stuff and fitting the houses out, it's a lot easier.
Was the block a great learning experience for you, Jenna?
Yeah, an amazing learning experience. I think what we learnt the most is to be able to do everything ourselves and hands-on, and that was the best, especially for me. Josh is a tradesman; he's a
Mm.
plumber, so he was sort of a bit hands-on, but I was a hairdresser, so I didn't have any idea what I was doing. But after the block, we can pretty much build a house by ourselves now, and I think that's what it taught us, and in such a short time frame as well. And obviously, if you want to flip houses or renovate to sell, you don't want to have the house vacant for long. So you want to be able to get in, give it a makeover, do it quickly, and then
Yep.
either rent it out or sell it. So I think the block was perfect for all of those.
You must have gone in with your eyes open in terms of how much privacy you've got to give up yourself. But was it a surprise even to you?
Oh, it was. So I think the first time we did the block in 2011, that was back when the block was just on once or twice a week,
Yep.
and we were going into this show thinking, oh, it's going to be a semi sort of reasonable size show, and
Mm.
then it turned out to be on 7 nights a week. So we went from being nobodies to getting pulled up in the street all the time. So it was quite a shock for us, and we were quite young at the time. We're only in our early 20s, and yeah, it forced us to mature rather quickly.
Has it shaped the way you look at property development now, do you think?
Oh, definitely. I
Mm.
don't think we never look at property now with rose-colored glasses. I think you got to be very realistic, and time frames always blow out, budgets always blow out.
Mm.
So I think as long as you're staying on track as you can be, you can't be too stressed about those things.
Yeah. What's been your most challenging development so far?
So we've only done one development really, which is the one in Maidstone, which was 8 kilometres west of Melbourne CBD. We bought that at the end of 2010, and that had a beautiful
Mm.
little terrace house that was built in the 1900s. And we renovated that. We subdivided the block and built a townhouse at the back. So the whole subdivision process, it was done by mainly us. And the whole town planning as well was quite difficult. Obviously, there's no guidance out there. You've just got
Mm.
to, there's just nowhere to learn anything about it. So you've just got to just keep putting all the paper in and getting through the red tape.
Yeah. Big learning curve, isn't it? What do you
Uh,
think is the biggest challenge for any young investors or developers? Where can they go wrong, and how can they make it more profitable for themselves?
I think when it comes to subdivision, it's very, very difficult. There's a lot of things that can go wrong. Like with us, we fought to get a second driveway in, so we didn't have any body corporate. So it's less complicated to sell and rent out.
Mm.
So there's no shared land and things like that. We didn't realise there was some phone pits in the way of the driveway, and that took us about 8 months to get that pit moved through all the paperwork and the red tape and there's just so many things that can go wrong. And look, I think if I did it again, I would probably just pay one of those people that manage the whole subdivision for you for maybe $5,000 or $6,000. I think the price is it's quite a lot of money, but there is quite a lot of time involved in it,
Yes.
and I can't stress that enough.
Yeah.
I
What are
think
the...
with
sorry, Jenna.
I was just going to say, I think with renovations as opposed to developments, I
Yes.
think the best advice I can give young people, because usually I guess that's where you start with a small renovation and you build up to more of a development subdivision process,
Mm.
is really to get as much advice as you possibly can and understand that, especially with old houses, that there's so many things that you don't expect that you're going to find. And we have renovated, I think, maybe five older properties now. And so honestly, they're the hardest ones because they're the ones that need to be re-stumped and the doors are all rotted out and the things that you can't see. So it's definitely about getting the advice. And then when
Mm.
you do the property, try to not get emotionally attached to it like I usually do with our properties, and just think of it as you're an investment, I guess, and you just need to make sure that you spend money in the right areas, and maybe you need somebody to help you hold you back.
I think a good start is just to focus on a house that is a renovator, but it doesn't need any like you don't need to do an extension. It's more internal
Structural.
works and
Yeah.
cosmetic makeovers.
Yes.
A friend of mine said to me, "Small fish taste better," so I think that's a good place to start. After mates, and I think we probably bit off a bit more than we could chew, but in the end we got a good result. But I'm not sure if we'll be rushing into that sort of that subdivision again.
Yeah. Tell me, what are the lessons you've learned in 2014 that you're going to take into 2015?
um, oh, look, we're always learning when it comes to renovations. I think, oh,
Feed your tradesmen
yeah,
and look after them
yeah, look
and pay
after,
them on time,
yeah,
because your tradesmen will become your best friends. And we're lucky enough now to have a great handful of tradesmen that we use for every single project that we do. And it has made my life and everyone else's lives around us so much better, because the job gets done, it gets done on time, they're going to turn up. And I think, the horror stories that you hear
Yeah.
when people are doing renovations, majority of them are because tradesmen have done something or they haven't turned up, or so definitely feed your tradesmen, look after them, get them a slab of beer every week, whatever you need to do to keep them there.
I think also to keep your feet in the water of the property market. So Jenna and I have obviously all the real estate apps like Domain and realestate.com.au and Homely. And
Mm.
what we do is when we see properties we like or that are similar to the ones we own, we favourite it. So you press that little star, it goes to your short list. And then even when that property sells and it disappears from the buyer's shortlist when you search for it, it stays inside your own shortlist. So over the years, you build up this little property portfolio of properties that you either like or are similar.
Wow.
And often you might find they might come up for sale a few different times, and it gives you an idea of the growth in the area. So if you focus on a few different areas, and it's just a little bit of homework, and if you're obsessed with property like us, it's not that big a chore. But that's a little tip we like to give.
That is a great piece of advice. Yeah, that's wonderful. Guys, we're out of time, but thank you so much, and every bit of success for what you're doing. Great
Thank you
reading
very
about you and
much.
API as well, and thanks for your time.
Thank you
Thank
very much. Cheers,
you.
Kevin.
Ta.
See ya.